Hello, hello. I am Tasha.
Mike?
We are Billion Beri, as you might know, or you might be new here. So this is going to be a new video for us. We are going to show you the things that we want to submit to Beckett for GCR, which is the acronym for Graded Card Review. That is where you contest the grade that they have given you and say, nah, man, that ain't it.
That's not it.
And they have to prove to you whether it is or isn't, because you actually get notes on what they found, which to me is very, very valuable.
It is, because they not only have to back it up with why they say it is what it is, but if they do find something legit and we're not seeing it,
now we
it
know
gives
to look
us an
for.
opportunity to learn for some of the things that they will grade against.
Yeah. So we're going to show you, we did, I think it was 3 different orders. You'll be able to see the other order videos if you look on our channel and see all the cards we got. But out of those cards, there were a multitude of them that we disagree with the grade, because we've been pre-grading for a while now. We've done a lot of cards and we have improved our pre-grading processes, the tools we used, things like that. So we are at a point now where we feel strong enough in our pre-grading to contest it. So we're going to show you the cards that we want to contest, and then we will film the second half of this video when we get them back.
Yep.
So you ready to see what we're going to send off?
Quick interjection from future us. Just wanted to mention how this video is going to be broken out. So now that we have our results, I'm going to show, anytime we pull up cards, I'm going to show, like, if it went up in grade, how much extra value perceived, based on my findings on eBay. It's not going to be exact, but
Current market.
yeah, current market, kind of just ballparking about how much difference in value there is. And then we're going to compare that against how much we spent to submit this GCR, which was, I believe, $563.50. So that's how much it costs to submit these 29 cards. And we'll see if it was worth it. All right, so let's get back to past selves and we'll be right back.
If you're new here, we don't always grade based on dollar value of the card. We grade on how much we like the art.
Yeah.
Carrot is my favorite. She's my girl. Got her back here in figure form and art form. So I am black label hunting for this card. If you've been following my Instagram, you've seen the pile of cards I've gone through.
Yep.
And this is the best I've had to show for it so far, but I disagree on both counts. I feel these are black labels. We're gonna find out what Beckett
We're gonna
says.
find out.
And boy, it'll be shocking if it goes from a 9 to a black label, don't you think?
Yeah, that'd be a little crazy.
Okay, so
All right.
my girl Carrot, she came back. Were they kind?
Yep, let's see how she did. Huh.
Not really.
Okay, so to the untrained eye, it may look like nothing happened. But while preparing for this, I did notice one thing. If you look right here, this is now 8.5 on edges. It was 8 when we submitted it. So it wasn't enough to change the grade from a silver 9, but it did technically change. Now, I wanted to show you what it looks like to get the notes back from Beckett.
Yes, this one has notes.
Yes, so this one was dinged for 9.5 centering, and if we flip it over here, so what this is showing is they just kind of use an arrow for where centering is. So this means that it's leaning too far to the top.
Yeah, it's
So-
shifted high in the frame.
Yeah, so when we flip this around, you'll see that it's pretty skinny on the, on the top here, and it's a little bit thicker on the bottom. So take a look at that and then compare it against that.
Obviously, we have to angle it to avoid the glare of the light. Sorry about that.
So,
but
I mean, yeah. But you're just getting an idea, right? And you know, if I look at this now with my newly trained eyes, I've improved quite a bit, I think, on centering, and like I can eyeball things a lot better now. If I look at this, I think to myself, why did I tell her that this was a 10 and worthy of a black label? Because now that I look at it, I agree with their assessment. So
my poor girl, she's been through a lot for no reason, apparently.
She has, but if we try again, I'm convinced that my eyes will do a little bit better of a job this time.
So now I get to go on the hunt, buying all the carrot cards again.
Yep.
Oh.
So if you want to offload them, now's your time to post them to TCGPlayer because we're on the hunt.
I need another stack about that high, apparently. The other one, though, a 9, I'm still just absolutely floored. I don't know what they're seeing. It doesn't make sense to me.
Yeah,
so.
We'll have to really evaluate that one again and see, like, what are you even seeing?
Yeah.
So here's another thing I want to mention real quick. So this one did go up in grade. It went from an 8 edges to an 8.5 edges.
Yes.
However, centering is still a 9.5 and surface corners are fine. So, but there's no notes.
Yep.
We didn't get any notes on this. And it seems to be that if they upgrade your grade, any subgrade, they don't give you any notes.
Yep. They're like, you bumped, grats.
Yeah.
You don't need to know anything else.
And as you'll see later, if you have multiple subgrades that are not right,
good luck.
And they give you notes on one of them, but not the rest.
Yeah.
Which is like, if you're paying full price to have this basically regraded again, you would think if they have multiple subgrades, not a 10, that they would take notes on why all of it is that way. But they only seem to focus on one, which is
really frustrating.
Kind of annoying, yeah. So
I feel like I need to actually talk to Beckett about that.
Yeah.
Because it seems like something that they could very easily rectify, but maybe not a lot of people go through this.
Yeah, this seems like a service issue that could be improved. So
yeah.
We live in the DFW area, and that's where they're headquartered. So we're hoping that we can make some contacts there and actually get like an interview or something set up and like
would be cool.
Be the voice of the people who want to grade with Beckett and just say, this is frustrating. This is not the way that we want things to be done. So, fix it.
Feedback.
So
constructive criticism.
That's right. All right, so let's continue. 2 Perona SRs.
Yes.
So
Perona's my other favorite.
take a look at those.
Perona.
So here's the result. As you can see, they both have white notes on the back of them, and their grades have remained unchanged. So let's take a look. They're both 2 left heavy. Yeah. So let's take a look at that, shall we? So we'll just use one as an example here. So if you look closely, you can see that the left side is far too skinny compared to the right side. Again, this is a failing on my part to not recognize what, at least to my eyes now, is pretty obvious. I don't know.
Yeah, all of a sudden he became a centering genius and everything's different now.
Well, so, and back me up here. If we have any viewers who are in martial arts, back me up here. So there's a concept in martial arts where when you are in it for a long enough time, it's almost like observation hockey, where you there becomes a point where it clicks and you start to have much better observation skills, and you can detect motion a little bit better in your opponent and all that kind of stuff. I forget what they call it. I think there's a term for it, but essentially, like, at first you're like, I don't know what I'm doing. And then eventually it clicks and like the world kind of slows down for you a little bit. You can kind of see it. It's kind of like observation hockey, just not mystical.
Well,
I think it's the same thing with this. I think I've finally trained my eyes enough to look at the card and be able to see it for what it is a lot easier now. So
I guess if we want to silver lining this, we could say that this learning curve has enabled us to do this GCR and go through all these growing pains so that we could share it with you.
Yeah, and we have a pre-grading video coming up after this in a couple weeks. So
It's a big production we're working on.
So I'll be able to show you my new centering sensibilities instead of my
Yes.
old idiotic ones that I sometimes look at these cards and I'm like, what? Why did I say that was a 10? I don't even understand. That doesn't make sense to me. So
Yep, so
yeah.
we're not going to further contest these things now that he is seeing with new eyeballs, apparently.
Yeah, because I'm getting the confirmation that what I see is what they see too. So this big disappointment, like this is, to our pre-grading eyes, this is the easiest black label ever. And
Yeah,
so
there's nothing wrong with it. I don't know.
There's no excuse for it being a 9.5. So now, from my standpoint, it turns out they agree with me. This was the easiest black label from a centering perspective because they gave us a 10 centering back.
Yeah.
But herein lies the problem. They upgraded our centering to a 10, but they did not upgrade service to a 9.5, or they didn't upgrade it to a 10, but there's no notes. Because they upgraded one of the subgrades to a 10, they just like, oh, you want to know about surface? Well, you're just going to have to resubmit that, I guess.
Yeah. And that surface, I have poured over this card. I checked it, as you know, multiple times raw, and I have checked it since getting it back again. And unfortunately, because they bumped the centering, I still don't know even what quadrant to be looking in the surface.
Yeah.
I have no direction of what the heck they're seeing, because I see nothing. She's going back again.
Yeah. I disagree on the centering on this one, so I think, or actually, no, this one's corners.
Quarters, and I disagree that there's anything wrong with the corners.
Yeah, we both looked at it top to bottom. There's nothing wrong with the corners. This should come back a black label because there's nothing wrong with the corners.
Yeah.
And the corners, there's only 4 of them. Should be pretty easy to tell. So.
There's only 4 of them.
And here's the result. Uh-oh. We have a white piece of paper behind it, and it's still a 10. So, they say that there is a problem with corners after review.
There's
so,
not.
Where does it show? So, it's saying in the front, in the top right corner, is where there's an issue. Let me get it zoomed in here.
See that? That corner is beautiful.
Do you see
I don't know what they're seeing.
anything wrong with this corner? Because I sure don't.
Even under magnification, I don't. So
we have this one marked as going back. Because we're going to try it again, because they can say there's a problem with the corners, but I don't really see anything. So.
And the thing I dislike about, I like that they give you where it's at, but they don't say what it is. Is it a nick? Is it a scratch? Is it a dent? Is it a pit? What is it? What should I be looking for to see what you see? So
so they break down where on the cards it's at, but then they leave it to your devices to figure out what they saw.
Mm-hmm.
Instead of just taking the 2 seconds to be like, small nick, front back, or front corner.
It
whatever.
takes the tiniest amount of time, and they could alter their little note sheet there to have nick, ding, pit, scratch, and then it would just be a check mark.
Just circle, check,
move along.
done.
Yeah.
It'll take you 2 extra seconds and 1 extra stroke of the pen, and we would know so much more than what they gave us.
Yeah. Because the biggest reason people keep saying that grading is a scam is because there is no transparency, and there's so much human error involved in it. So if you could add some transparency in and make it at least feel more collaborative, you can ask questions and you'll get answers, I have a feeling a lot more people would feel differently about grading, or at least feel better about it.
Probably. So we are making it our mission to get big enough in the community and be local that they'd actually want to talk to us, and we can start trying to fix some of these problems, because
Maybe.
we've seen some of the stats of Beckett lately, and they're falling behind their competition pretty hard.
Yeah, they
And-
had a pretty big scandal that I think shook a lot of people's faith, unfortunately.
Yeah, but that scandal was kind of unrelated to Beckett itself. It does paint it does change the perception and all that, but just in addition, we've seen a lot of sentiment where you can send in 2 orders that you pre-graded the same exact way, and one gets graded super harsh and one comes back roughly the way you think it should.
Yeah.
So there's
I
a
swear
lot of
there's
disparity.
Some graders there that have a chip on their shoulder that just don't
Yeah.
want to give the higher grade because, well, we're Beckett and we have high standards.
Something.
And
So
it's like,
yeah.
okay, but you can't just make things up.
Yeah. And then we see stuff like this where the notes, like you pay $18 minimum to get notes on why the card was graded the way it was,
And
they
they're
take
ridiculously vague.
the absolute minimum effort to do it. And it's like, okay.
But that's enough of the, we'll
Yeah.
call it criticism.
Back to the cards. And then we got this one.
Judge.
Yep. This one, I disagree with the 9 centering.
Yeah,
It may not be a 10 centering, but it's
But
at
it
least a
ain't
9.5, so we should be able to get this as a 10.
yeah.
Look who was right.
Ha
They agree.
Yes.
I
She's
said
a 10.
it may not be a 9, or it may not be a 10 centering, but it's a 9.5.
Mm-hmm.
And
Bump.
they agreed. So, not that this card is worth a whole lot, so it's not going to add much to our little tally.
It's a little more valuable these days, all of a sudden.
Is it? Okay.
Yeah. So, who knows what'll happen with this card. I just think it's really cool because obviously Perona, but also that it's a judge card. So,
Yep. So this one got a 9
Yeah.
for centering. I
cannot fathom why.
I disagree. Like, just looking at this card, look at it. It's pretty well centered. It may not be a 10, but it's certainly not a 9.
Yeah.
Womp womp.
Boo.
So this one they do not agree with me on. This one, they say that the centering is kind of diagonal, so it's too
Yeah. It goes both ways, which then you're getting dinged a half point for each side, I think, which
Yeah.
does drop it to a 9,
Yeah.
not a 9.5.
So they're saying this whole card is shifted this way.
Mhm.
And I don't know. I'll have to remeasure it. I can kind of see maybe where they're coming from. So that's some good insight, though, that if the top and bottom is off and the left and right is off, that
You
could
get 2
result in
dings.
a whole grade down. It's a half point per.
Good
So
information.
that could be very useful in future pre-grading things, because I would have assumed if it's not 50-50, then whatever that next tier is, as long as it fits within that realm on both sides, then
Yeah.
it's only a half grade down, but apparently not.
Clearly, the standard is different.
Yes.
This one I've tried before. I just can't get a good grade on it.
Yeah. So this one's centering and corners, so we looked over corners on this
But
one. Didn't
yeah,
see
I
anything
don't
wrong
see
here either.
anything wrong with it. So
And I'm pretty sure the centering's pretty darn spot on, so it should be okay. All right, so another half grade bump, this time for
it's
corners.
50-50 here.
So we finally have a BGS 10 Perona box topper. Woo!
Yeah, that was ridiculously hard. You don't even know how many I went through trying to get one to grade. Then I graded and got 9.5 and 9.5, and I was just like, oh, come on.
Yeah. So they still don't agree with me on centering, but
Yeah.
here's the problem. They upgraded corners, therefore
No
I get no
notes.
notes on where they think the centering is off. So
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to recenter this whole thing and determine whether or not we want to send it back, try to get a black label out of it.
Yeah. But at least it did get a bump.
It did get a bump. Yay. I just wish they would give notes despite that. Like,
Yeah.
there's 4 total subgrades, right? We kind of want to know about all of them.
Yeah.
But they're like, congrats, we gave you a bump up, so the rest of it doesn't matter, right?
Yeah, you don't need to know anything.
$18. Like, really? So, we're going to send our Uta back. And,
We think we can beat that centering.
yeah, I think that centering should be a 10.
Eh.
Still, the centering issue. Now, this one's interesting because they say it's left heavy. So let's take a look at that.
What do your elf eyes see?
So I might be able to see that it's too thick on the left side.
It's kind of tough for me because I don't do the centering, but like The line on the cards is thinner at the top and then thicker at the bottom because it kind of has a little notch in.
Yeah, it has the notch in.
So it's like, I've always kind of wondered, is it someone looking at the top or the bottom, or like, where are they looking? Because sometimes it does seem thicker, but then you look at the top and it's like, wait, no, they line up.
Yeah, but when centering these cards, I never look at the top half of the left side. I always measure it based on this bottom half, because if you measure it up here, it's going to be wrong every time.
All right.
So I always measure the bottom half to the bottom half. And if I'm looking at that, it looks like it might actually be thicker on the left side. So I don't know. We have this marked as a recheck, so I don't know. I'll have to remeasure it and just see what I see with my
check it out.
My current L5s, if you can call them that. Right now they're blurry, so I can barely see anything. So that's a real good vote of confidence.
Yeah, perfect time to film, right?
Yeah. Then this Hiyori. So in our previous video, you saw we sent 2 of these in. One of them came back black label. But this one, the surface-wise, is just as good as the other one. There's no imperfections on the surface of this at all.
No reason it should have gotten dinged.
So we want a second black label.
That's right.
Keep it.
Keep you me.
Yes. All right, so here we get to see. So they did not bump us up as we were hoping. We overlooked this. We looked at this card again, as we mentioned in the previous part, and said we didn't see anything wrong with the surface. So here's where things get a little, I would say, irritating.
Quite.
Okay.
So
this shows a circle
with an
arrow through it saying off reg. Now this is actually a more detailed piece than we got with some of the other ones, where they are trying to explain something to us here. I don't exactly know what they're trying to mention.
Yeah, I've looked at everything in the entire bottom quadrant of the card with magnification to double check it now. I don't see anything. I don't know what they're trying to tell me. Like, is it shifted to the right? Like, that didn't make sense to me, but I tried to look at it. So I may want to like see if I can talk to someone in the office there and be like, what does this mean? Because it doesn't make sense to me. The only thing we can figure off reg means is maybe like off regulation. Off regulation,
off register, off something like that. But basically they're just giving us a note that says, in this general vicinity, something's wrong, but they don't tell us what it is.
Yeah, what is it?
Yeah, so like in this one, at least they circle it and put an arrow and say like maybe something shifted like on the nameplate or something.
Yeah.
But it's really hard to tell. And as you'll see in some of the later ones, it's even worse. So we have a point of contention with how they handle surface.
I really hate off reg. Yeah. Whatever that is, I hate it.
Then we got
2 out of our 3 rages that we had, we disagree with. The third one, that's what we saw too.
Our first big win of the GCR. So Black Label.
Yeah.
So we so the OPO1 Alt-Art Boa, we lovingly call her Booty Boa in this
and this is kind of the same pose.
Yeah, this is basically a recreation of that Booty Boa. So we call this Booty Rage here.
Yes.
So now
popping that booty out.
That's right. So now we've got a black label.
Yeah.
Of this Reiju, because they fixed the centering. They agreed with me that it was a 10. And so, huzzah, we have a black label of this Reiju now. So, hooray for that.
GCR win.
That's right. So this one, they disagree. They say that the centering is still a 9.5, and if we look at it, it's saying that it's shifted to the top.
So that would make it fat on the bottom.
Yep. So
here's the top.
Take a look at that.
And then
come on.
Get past the shine. Here's the bottom.
Yep.
So maybe a little tricky to see.
Because the perspective skew and all that. But if you just kind of take my word for it, if I'm looking at this and I'm being honest about it, I kind of agree. I want to use my tool again to
actually measure.
Using my current day sensibilities to see. Because I mean, we submitted these 3 months ago, so my grading prowess has changed quite a bit in those 3 months. But I tend to agree that maybe this one is a 9.5. So we'll see.
But we got a black label
A
bump.
black label. So.
It can happen. It can happen.
Yes, progress is being made towards actually making this worth it. Same thing with this one, centering again. Still an issue with this one, centering again. So let's see, what are they saying about this one? So they say bottom. So
The top would be
the
fat.
top is too thick and the bottom is too skinny. Which, if I look at it, I think I can see that. So they may be right about that.
This is why I leave it to him. I don't see it.
It's close. So I have a thing in my pre-grading where I'll call something a 9.7. Some things are obvious 9.5s, and some things are obvious 10s, and some are like, I could really see it going either way. Like if someone had a, something good happen to them that day, they might just kick it over to a 10. You never know. But
there is still a human element to contend with. You know, sometimes it goes in your favor, and sometimes it really, really doesn't.
So this one looks close, but I think I potentially agree. So it's going to take the tool to really know one way or another, but there's that.
Centering. I have to wonder if other people send in large GCR orders as well.
Maybe.
Like, are we the only ones doing a really big one?
If they do, I don't typically see videos on it, which I have looked for. Yeah. Because I was curious before we did this,
We haven't seen much GCR content. We've seen like one video and it was of like 2 cards. Yeah. So we thought maybe we'll make the content that we can't find.
All right, so this one came back the same as we left it. This is currently the only special that we've graded in this set that did not come a black label or come back a black label for us. So we were trying to...
Specials were so good in that set, and we wanted to like finish them out, although we didn't send
one of them yet.
I think it was Borsalino.
Yeah.
But
we didn't care about that.
Says too high.
Too high. Well...
We have questions. How do you center this?
Yeah, because it does say it's on the front, that the centering is off.
Yeah.
Okay.
How?
I would actually really love to know how I'm supposed to center this properly.
The only thing I can see is maybe this symbol and the 10 symbol. But
they're 2 different shapes, so I don't know if that's how that's supposed to work out. So I have questions about like, how am I supposed to know, how am I supposed to pre-grade this? Unless I have... say 10 of these that I can line up side by side.
Yeah.
And by the way, I compared this against our black labels. Put them side by side, lined them up perfectly. The name, the little the little thing at the bottom there for the color, the pie, the name, the thing on the the card identifier over here, the number at the top, the 12,000, like all of that lines up perfectly. So I don't understand.
How is it off center?
Yeah, so we may send this one back again and just see if they'll let it through.
And maybe, so far I think there's 2 different ones, if memory serves from what we've filmed, that we just actually want to talk to somebody. We really want to actually find out how to do it.
Yeah, we just want some clarification on some stuff. We had 2 of these. I feel this one is a 10. The other one, it's a 9.5 centering. There's no quibbling about that, but this one should be a 10. So yeah. All right, so they say it's still a 9.5. I say it's a 10, but let's see what they say. So too much to the top. So bottom should be thick.
Not seeing it.
I mean, if I'm looking at it, it looks pretty close.
Good.
This might be one of those 9.7s I'm talking about, but this is a 9.7 leaning towards 10.
Yeah.
In my opinion. So I'm gonna have to remeasure this and see how this looks, because I don't know. I don't see that. I think that might still be a black label. So we'll play with it.
Some of these slabs have a longer journey than others.
Indeed. And this one I know is a 10.
Yeah.
This one
centered that so many times just to double, triple, quadruple check.
Yeah, I recentered it like 5 times. It is a 10 centering. So that should be our first manga black label.
Should be.
If they're fair and accurate with their review. Okay. So I'm going to show you something with this one because you know, the last one was Treasure Rare Nami. Like, okay, if it's not a black label, whatever.
Whatever.
But I was pretty confident, past me, was pretty confident that this one is a 10. Now, with these, I measure these like 18 million times, right? Because it's a manga. We want to make sure it's, you know, good. And it's the only one we pulled, so we're going to send it anyway. But I was pretty confident in this one. So they're saying that it's too left heavy. So the right side is too thick. Now, I'm going to do a little experiment here, live on camera with you. It's going to be a little
inside baseball. It's
going to be a little hard because the glare and the light, I can't keep it flat, right? But I'm going to try to show you as best I can. In fact, let me zoom this in a bit.
Anton, enhance.
Okay. So let's do this together. So if I line that up.
Lined up.
Okay. So it may not be perfect because I'm trying my best here, but if you look at that, right, it looks pretty spot on to the measurement that I've got, the thickness of this tool. And if I switch it over here.
I've not adjusted the tool.
Not adjusted the tool.
There you go.
I mean, do you see a problem?
It's the same.
It looks the same to me.
And this is a digital caliper.
Yep, this is a digital caliper.
And it says 2.7.
Yep.
And we did not move it.
Did not move
So
it.
each side is equidistant.
Equidistant. So I don't understand what they're seeing that apparently is there, but I highly contest that this is a 10 centering and therefore our first manga black label.
Yeah.
So it's going back. We got Marco here from our Japanese first anniversary. I think it's a 10 centering, so. All right.
What do you say?
So past me is an idiot.
Oh no.
Because so it's saying it's too right heavy, which means it should be thinner on the right side. And if I zoom in a little bit here, I completely agree with that.
You insisted. He insisted. Yeah.
I don't know. Hey, we said that there was human error involved in this, and it's not always Beckett.
Yeah.
Sometimes we get a little too up our own ego and say, yeah, that's a 10, and then we get it back and it's not, and then we're like, what? Yes, it is. And then they show us, no, it's really not. And then you look at it and you go, oh. Sorry, Beckett. Same thing here. I feel like this one's a 10.
And?
Same scenario here. Fortunately, this one is saying that it's too top heavy, so it's very thin on the top and it's thick on the bottom. And if you take a look, they're not wrong.
Oh.
So.
Sorry, Zoro.
I fail again. But this is good. It's
Learning.
good to know that sometimes I'm screwing up, and it's not just that they're being super harsh on centering for no reason.
Yeah, that was one of the main reasons we wanted to do a big GCR.
Because I was starting to get real complex about that. Like, I feel like my centering's really good.
Yeah.
And then we send it in and they send it back a 9.5 or even a 9 in some cases. I'm like,
What's going on?
no. But now I look at it and go,
Yes.
oh, okay.
Whoops.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry.
My bad.
Yeah. This one,
Nami, we're just hoping we can get her bumped up to a 10.
yeah, less confident on this one. I don't know that she'll ever get a 10 on centering, but I think we can fix the surface one. I think that one has a chance to go up, but we'll see. Now this one pisses us off.
A lot.
So I said in the pre-video that I don't think this thing is ever gonna get a 10 on centering.
On centering.
And I'm correct because it's not a 10 centering, and they agree with that. So they gave us a note saying why they think it's not a 10 centering. It's like, okay, I agree with that. I actually am fully on board with that. I did not expect a 10 centering. But it's also a 9.5 surface. Where's the note? Where's the note telling us where the surface has a problem?
Yeah.
I want to know.
Right? I need to know.
Yeah.
This is a valuable card. I want to know.
Yeah, so why are you just stopping at centering?
Yeah.
We need to know why the surface is wrong too. For $18 as a minimum to get this thing reviewed, you would think they'd address all the subgrades and not just the first one. So that's really irritating because now we have to take this back and possibly submit it again.
Yeah.
And I guess I'll have to put a note. Don't care about centering, care about surface.
Yeah.
Because they just decided
something.
Oh, you don't need to know about the surface one. That's fine. Whatever. Stupid. And then we have been trying pretty hard to get a black label for ourselves and failing on this card.
Yep, not happening.
And while none of these 3 cards we felt had black label potential,
No.
they should have been a 10.
Yeah.
Or at least the one on the top should at least be a 9.5, I believe. But it should be a 9.5 and 2 10s, and instead we got a 9 and 2 9.5s. So we're gonna send them all back and see if we can't get them at least upgraded a little bit.
I protest. And
Well, would you look at that?
look who was right.
It's almost like I said it should be this way.
Yes.
And it is.
So now it came back as we originally thought it would, which it really boosts my confidence in pre-grading when you see that happen, because it's like, I knew that's what I felt was right, and there it is.
Yeah. So starting with this top one, it got bumped up to a 9.5. The centering apparently is still atrocious, and if I look at it, I kind of agree.
And once again, these got bumped, so we have 0 notes.
Yeah, we don't have any notes on them.
Just have to kind of guess.
So they still have
happened.
corners listed as a problem, and we don't know why.
Yeah.
We looked it over. The corners all look fine.
Yeah.
So I don't know on this one. Now these are kind of, it's kind of funny because both of these had centering and surface listed as issues, and one of them had surface bumped, and the other one had centering bumped.
What a pisser.
So by their powers combined, they'd be a black label.
Yeah. Just mush them together.
Yeah. But we got them both bumped to a 10, so that certainly helps a bit, because these are fairly expensive cards, and we bought them just before they tanked because of reprints.
Yeah.
So we spent more on them than we should have.
As always, we touch it, it tanks.
Yeah. So now we can resell those and keep trying to get that fabled black label that we love with that card.
Eventually we want one.
Yes.
I mean, clearly you can see we have her up there. We love that card.
It's one of my favorite cards of the whole TCG, and it's from the first set.
Yep. Funny how that works.
Yeah. And then one of our favorite cards to grade is this boa card.
Love this boa card.
We've had 2 black labels of this one, and we're looking to add to that list. So.
Yeah.
All right, our next big win of this GCR. So we got another black label on our boa box topper.
Ah, yeah.
So this is awesome. We spent a lot of money on O2 and we didn't get hardly anything back out of it. So
yeah,
this boa has been a trooper for us to help kind of get out of the black or out of the red. So yeah, we got another black label. So that'll be awesome.
And you might be able to find it in our eBay.
Maybe. And this one says it's 2 left. So if I'm, yep. So the left is apparently too skinny, and the right is too thick. Which, if I look at it, it's close, but they're probably correct.
Is that another 9.7?
This might actually be more squarely a 9.5.
Really? Okay.
Yeah. So I think they may have this one correct.
Her journey is complete.
We have a couple more. 1 second.
Ooh, do we now?
We do. This may just be a for kicks thing, but the journey for our friends may not be ending.
That's true.
So we looking at these, this one's Surface 9.5, this one's Surface 9.5. This one has multiple things going wrong with it, but we looked it over and it doesn't seem bad. Like, I don't know that one could ever be a black label.
No.
There's
one of them we know will never be a black label. This one.
Yeah.
Because we found a little bit going on there too. But the other stats we thought were better.
Yeah.
So it could get to a 10.
Like I think the centering on this one is fine.
Yeah.
I think the edges of this one are fine. But the surface is the only part that's not.
Yeah, that's the one grade that we agree that we know that's there.
Yeah, so we
but
understand that.
we think it could be a 10.
So we're gonna try it. I mean,
doesn't hurt to try, right?
it would make my day to ever get a black label of that card because I love that card. Oh, and here we go.
Yeah.
So nothing changed. Well, things have
Something
changed. Things have changed, but not much. So we'll start with this guy here. So this guy's a 9.5. We think he'll always be a 9.5.
Yep.
Centering though got bumped. So they finally agreed with me on the centering piece of it. So hooray for that. But edges and surface are still problematic, and they don't say why. Although we know why the surface one is the problem, but they don't say why the edges are 9.5.
I'm still kind of disagreeing with those edges, to be honest.
Maybe.
But
Yeah. So who knows? All right. And then these guys. These guys are irritating
yeah.
for one specific reason. They both just put a little circle and say off reg.
All right. That's it.
Okay.
Little circle.
So
I scoured the area with magnification on both cards. I see nothing.
Yeah, so obviously it's gonna be really hard to show, but like
Yeah, it's like somewhere in this upper left quadrant there.
So trying on
according to their
purpose,
circle.
to introduce some glare so that you can kind of see like any major surface imperfections or anything like that. Like I just don't see it.
Yeah.
I don't see it, so I just don't know. I just don't know.
It's really frustrating.
Yeah. So, and they're both like that. They both have no clue.
Circle.
Yep, same.
So that's another one we want to maybe ask, like, what? What is it you're talking about?
Yeah.
Because we don't see it.
So there you go. There's our GCR. We've
Find out how we did.
Yeah. So, what does the document say?
It says, I think we need a drum roll. 35% got bumped for at least one subgrade.
Yep. It didn't always change the overall grade.
No.
But 35% of the cards we submitted had a bump of some kind.
I think that's pretty exciting, actually.
Pretty good.
I mean,
especially considering how many I ended up agreeing with at the end.
yeah.
You're like, oh, this is bad centering.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're right.
Sometimes you just need to point it out. Perhaps
Son
that's
of
all
a-
it is.
Yeah.
However, we got 2 black labels. It was definitely worth it, in my opinion. However, we have numbers to back that up. The total value increase, and this is based on like current market and previous sales, things like that. So obviously this is subject to change, but currently total value increase of doing this GCR, about $975. Now, before you get too excited, it did cost us money to submit all this.
Correct.
So you have to take the $563.50 out of that, because that's what it cost us to do this.
Yeah, we didn't just go and make it happen.
If
we
only.
had to pay money for it, so.
So in the end, though, that means that we get a profit of around $411.50.
Yeah.
Because if we sell it at what is right now market value based on previous sales, etc., then that would be what we'd be able to earn. So I would say that was well worth it.
I think so, yeah. I mean, a lot of this is staying in our personal collection, but
yeah.
from a value to value standpoint, was it worth it to spend that much to get them bumped? Yes, it was.
Yes, it was.
At least in this case, so.
And are you always going to get a bump? No.
No.
Are you even majority of the time going to get a bump? Probably not.
Probably not.
So if you're just submitting a couple cards and it comes back the way you had it and you get mad, I'm sorry. It may just be that, like us, you looked at it wrong to begin with. That's a possibility.
Maybe.
Or the journey is not done and it has to go back again. Sometimes you got to keep trying.
Send it back through.
if the value of the card is high enough, I'd recommend trying it until your heart's content. You know, until you truly believe that enough eyes have been on it and now you think, yeah, maybe it doesn't deserve the bump or it gets your bump, one of the two, then yeah, it can really, really increase the value of your cards. Yeah. So it's only a shame, in my opinion, that it's necessary to do that, pay a whole nother round of grading, because that's what it should have been the first time. So, however, human error, it exists. It's not something we're going to get around so long as people are grading by eyeballs. Yeah. So,
I, for one, just wanted more detailed notes than we got for all the subgrades that were marked. Like anything below a 10 should get a note. I would think. So I don't understand why they didn't do that.
Yeah, I feel like that should be part of the initial grading process. I don't think you should be required to send it back in for review just to get notes on what they found.
Yeah. Beckett, if you're listening or watching this video for whatever reason at some point, offer 3 tiers of payment. Offer graded cards with no subgrades, with subgrades, and subgrades with notes.
Yes.
And if you add like $1 surcharge for every submission or every card submitted,
since it does take a little time to fill out your sheet, and please make a better sheet, a little more detail.
Yeah, we could probably come up with a better sheet in like 5 minutes. So come on.
So just a few small ideas, feedback, you know, like I think it could really make a difference in customer satisfaction.
Transparency is key.
I know not everyone is interested in like becoming the peak pre-grader like we are, so obviously not everyone would want the notes like we do, but having the option of getting them the first go round so that you know what the grader saw and you can try to see if you can verify it with your own eyes, that would be just fantastic.
That'd be huge.
And then adding more detail to your sheet, absolutely fantastic.
Agreed. Yep. So lots of opportunity to improve your service. If you want to become the most transparent grading service out there, that would be great. Because there's lots of rumors swirling around Beckett and PSA all the time, right? You go to like places like Reddit, you're gonna get all kinds of crazy stuff. You know, population control. It's all a scam.
Yep.
You know, quotas and stuff, and I think the quotas are probably accurate. Like they don't want just people handing out black labels every 2 seconds.
It does
but
feel
if it's
that
a black
way.
label, it should be a black label.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So I'm sorry that One Piece cards are so good.
I know, right? It's like they are high quality cards. Now I've had my hands on Magic cards and Pokemon cards, and I'm like, dang, dude.
They do not compare.
No, they do not compare. So yeah, sorry One Piece cards grade so well, but that doesn't mean you fudge it.
Yeah.
If there's a black label, it needs to be a black label.
Yeah. Don't take it out on us.
Yeah. What do you ever do?
Yeah. So yeah, I think we're gonna. So we've got a couple things with this. This won't be our only GCR. We're gonna GCR other cards at some point too. I've already got some in my brain that I'm like looking back on old cards that we graded that we're like, oh, let's maybe send those back through after we reevaluate. But also, we'll do a follow-up to this one because we have a number of cards that we're going to resubmit again because we disagree.
Yeah.
Or they didn't give us notes on the right thing or whatever.
Mm-hmm. Some of these journeys are not complete.
They're
they
not
have
complete
further
yet.
to go.
They do. So we will resubmit and then we'll have a follow-up to this video when we get the results back and see if things changed after a second time.
If you've been here for a while, should I send the iceberg? Do you want to know? Are you interested in Iceberg Saga?
The saga of the iceberg continues.
If you're curious about that, look back through our other Beckett returns. You'll find Iceberg-san, and you'll see my pain and agony at his grading results.
We might have to just for the lulz.
I know.
Just
sometimes it's just fun to find
just
out.
to see. Yep.
But hopefully, this is valuable information for you guys. We know that some of you have been clamoring for it. I've been getting messages like, hey, when are you doing it? When are you doing it? Well, here you go. And we will do more.
We will.
Not done.
This is number 1, so we'll keep it going. And if you like this video, you can give us a like. You can comment. I'd really love to know, because there's not a lot of information out there. If you have sent in a GCR, what were your results? Did you get any major bumps? Were you happy with it? Were you disappointed with it? You know, how'd that turn out? And make sure you subscribe to our channel so that you can see future videos pop in.
Yes, we have so much good stuff on the horizon. I know it's been slow with just movie reviews, but we have so much we're working on.
Yep.
I just got sick.
That's true. Yep. We also have affiliate links in the description below. If you click through those, it'll take you to our Amazon affiliate linked products. And
find some of the tools we use.
Yep. And if you make a purchase, it helps out the channel. So that would be very much appreciated if you want to support us. We also have a merch shop now. It's only got 2 whole designs in it, so look at us go. But,
there will be more. We don't know when, but there will be more. We have ideas. We're working on it.
Yep, so keep an eye out on that. We've got some cool ideas coming up once we make time for it. And we're not ready to necessarily say anything right this second, but we do have another thing coming down the pipeline, ways to interact with us and such. So
we will add it to the description when it is available.
So and we'll probably have
check the description for all the links. You may find a happy little surprise in there.
That's right. And when we're ready to announce it, we will announce it probably with its own little video. I don't know.
Yeah, we'll see.
We'll see how it goes. But for now, I'm Mike.
Tasha.
And we are Billion Beri, and we'll see you next time.